Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. We are into winter now. While some of the season might not quite agree, there are leaves that have fallen, branches that are bare, a lot of dull brown, a lot of mud because of the rain. But in the Stargazer camp, well, it's business as usual. The patches of earth between have long been beaten down by the little inroads that kinfolk and Garu alike take on their daily lives. It's almost as though they crafted the paths between the buildings themselves without thinking about it. One of those roads leads to Olaf's cabin. He's between tasks at the moment. He performed his usual morning duties, performed his usual afternoon duties to Quintus, and in that little bit of twilight that he used to have between that and his nightly works, he sits on his porch, smokes cigarettes, and stares out at the sky. The sun's getting low, but it's not quite in the direction he's looking. And I imagine there are some people that are coming to visit him rather shortly.
Well, Maeve does like company, regardless of all the bothering that there is as a potential. She just likes including Olaf in what she's doing. And so she has probably nabbed Talia because she has plans. Glorious plans! Uh, and with a bag of the handles in her teeth, will trot along kind of lazily between the two cabins, hopefully carrying the other in tow, and Senna too, of course, if she wants to be involved in her shenanigans. And we'll come around the corner, kind of bleh, spit out the bag, and immediately do the flop.
Senna, for her part, is also kind of half dragging a bag along in her jaw. She follows Maeve, not really sure why or where they're going, and when she notices Olaf, she stops. For a few seconds, she just looks at him. As if she's not quite sure what to do at this point, but then much more slow than Maeve, she lets herself fall and roll over.
When the two cubs go ahead and roll over for him, Olaf waves a hand. You two can get up. What's going on?
And Maeve will scuffle back over onto her feet, nab up her bag, and come over to the foot of the steps to his porch before making a pretty quick, fairly smooth revert to her breed form as soon as I stop fucking up. Do 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 do.
In the meantime, what's Senna doing?
Senna is turning around and kind of sits up and just stares at Olaf, not approaching. Her ears low to her, kind of flat against her neck. She seems to have trouble to stop herself from growling at this point.
Well, isn't that sweet of you? Let's see what we've got here, yes? And he actually looks inside the bag.
Oh, Maeve is, well, she'll fairly promptly pull a couple things out. Most notably, a pair of long, vaguely spiraled, it's not quite what she'd hoped for, but slightly spiraled black horns. She's managed to get them detached from the skullcap piece that she was sent by Kachina, but as of yet, besides that, has done precious little with them. So she'll tug them both out and set them next to her on the porch, pull out a piece of sandpaper and a small carving knife, or, well, a small all-purpose knife, really. And kind of glance up and shrug. Well, I got these meaning to use them before Lucas had changed, but, well, I might as well finish them, right?
Indeed. Indeed. And he looks over at Cinna. And you?
She'll take her time to also change back. That'll ease the conversation, which apparently is necessary. Though she does not necessarily agree to
Well,
that.
apparently reverting to breed form, you should be able to snap back pretty quickly.
Yeah. So, let's see. No, other way around. Right.
Ta-da!
Yeah, hi, it's me. And she'll grab the bag and opens it and grabs the laptop out. What about me?
Well, I believe I've worn the wolf shirt more than long enough to understand quite where the pose of the ears puts things. So, indeed, what about you?
I'm trying to do my job.
Very well.
Or is that a problem to you, Olaf Raya?
Strokes his beard. No, I don't suppose it is. The connection should be good around here. Yeah, I suppose it should be. So, one of you been kin a very long time, and one of you, heck, my most long-standing cub. Suppose there's very little I could say at the moment. Some sort of lesson. But I imagine you all have a lot of questions for me.
And Maeve has shrugged. The tips of the horns have likewise been sawed off, and someone has been kind enough to take a drill and make sure that the more heavy end has been drilled through to the hollow portion of the horn. That done, she's just kind of, at this point, because she's not feeling brave yet, has just taken a little bit of sandpaper and is tidying up the wider, broader end of the horn, just kind of cleaning up where bits of bits of horn have flaked or chipped a little bit. And she just sort of shrugs. I don't know. I don't have anything in particular unless you can tell me more about making these.
Well, unfortunately, my craft has nothing to do with woodwork. I'm a mechanic by trade.
Well, they shouldn't be too terribly hard, at least as far as physically making them. I was given the impression it's not too terrible to carve out a mouthpiece, though I haven't really used many instruments, so I guess it'll be trial and error. But, no, I mean, like, making them into more.
Cocks his head to the side.
Well, I've made a talon, and I understand that in those you are binding a spirit that performs a service, and then it goes on its merry way. And his cocked head, she'll realize that he can't read minds, and kind of hold one up to her lips for the sake of example, briefly, or just kind of mime it a couple inches away from her face. I had heard about the horns that you can make for the kinfolk so that they can call for help, and back when Lucas was kin, I meant to make one for him and one for the children of Gaia. That's why I got spiraling horns. I thought it'd be, nice. And they didn't have any Garu to take care of them. And, well, now they do. And Lucas doesn't need it anymore, but we have already bought the horns, so it only makes sense that I go ahead and make them into something that the kin can use. I don't even know who needs them anymore.
Well, sometimes, even with official guardianship, kinfolk get into a jam when nobody's around. Things like that, very useful, but also very dangerous. You see, much like our house, anything that can understand the call is well within its ability to respond. That includes, well, them, as much as it includes us.
So I guess it's not sort of the thing that you'd want to keep in one of those places like where you sent Amara?
As a last resort, yes. You just have to keep in mind that the person who answers your call isn't always who you'll want it to be.
You use them when you're about to die. If something bad comes instead of something good, you die. Well, boo-hoo. You would have died anyway if you hadn't used it. Simple as that.
She's not wrong.
Kind of grim, but it makes sense.
As I said, a last resort. I myself have responded to such a horn.
I've never heard one. What does it sound like?
It is at once the most piercing and loudest thing you will hear, short of certain abilities of other spirits.
It's a dog whistle, really.
There
If
are
the
some
comparison
amongst
is not-
us who dislike such comparisons.
I know, but it's the easiest way to compare exactly what it does. Your hearing, our hearing, is more sensitive. It produces a sound at a pitch that normal humans, not even kin, can really hear. So even if you wouldn't transform into wolves, it would still be the best description. But if you feel more comfortable with it, I'll call it a bird whistle.
Eh. I'm sure one of my pack mates might appreciate that a little bit, depending on her mood.
And
Ash.
hopefully Talia will free up soon, and I've heard about a flute that you can make that calms people. But I definitely don't have the ability to make that. But she seems to be pretty handy when you give her, a piece of wood to work with, so I'm sure we can find a branch or something and get the center drilled out and see if she can work on it.
Talking about the harmony flute. It's a good thing to have, especially at gatherings where disagreements are going to be had. Especially with the moon the way it is currently. You'll have noticed by now the way the blood gets up. The fatter the moon gets, the fuller the moon gets. And when it's high and full, well, some have more rage than others. It becomes much easier to access whether you want to or not.
She'll not.
Now, you two, some would say you were cursed, and some would say you were blessed with less rage. To me, the less rage you have, yes, perhaps you can't rush into battle at top speed all of the time, but you have a clarity of vision. You don't have to worry as much about being suddenly overcome. Me, well, I started my days with as much rage as a newborn Arun. Little less now, but still, I find myself on par with most tale singers, the Galliards. He strokes his beard. Tell me, have you two experienced the effects of rage on normal people yet?
I think I did once. That one time that Lucas and I went out.
Indeed. Some people find it amusing that every time I try to go along at these little social events, well, we get a lot of personal space. Many of us find it rather inconvenient. But there are those among us who have an easier time walking amongst regular humans. And of course, we have many kinfolk. You're highly encouraged to keep good relations with your kinfolk, especially if, say, you find yourself unable to go about your regular day. I certainly wouldn't be able to get a lot of things in my life if I wasn't good friends with the kinfolk that live in this neighborhood. I find myself having to think about you lot. I am Philodox. There's only so much I can offer when it comes to the auspices. So, Going to have to find people to teach you your auspices. Ways that I cannot. Maybe
Hmm?
amongst the Theurges, is there someone you'd like to learn from?
I already have Katori, and when I need to, I can go to Chase's. Katori said that no matter what happened, if he ever was not the Den Father, he would still mentor me.
Olaf nods. It is obvious that he approves. And you, Cinna? Any of the Ragabash you've taken a shine to?
No, I don't need it.
Perhaps, all the same, somebody is going to have to teach you how to fight like a Ragabash.
I have someone who will teach me how to fight in his style.
Really? And who might that be?
Morning, Kilraya.
Well, Olaf looks curious. His brow does raise for a moment. Now that is interesting. Is this an arrangement that he reached out to make with you?
Sort of. The arrangement was struck a long time ago, but it still stands.
Long time ago. Well, he is a Garu of distinct honor. When he says he'll do a thing, well, he goes and does the thing. I'll have to reach out to him, understand the exact circumstances, just so I
Yeah,
can know where
because I
you
could be
are.
lying, huh?
Oh no, no, this is for posterity. You see, I don't have to take a closer look at you to verify whether or not you speak true. There's already the word of another. All I have to do is talk to him. I know that, and you know that, so really, I can't see an immediate reason for you to lie. You left a loose end. People only leave loose ends when either they've got it covered, or they're telling the truth. And you just don't strike me as someone who's going to lie to my face. Don't know why.
Keep thinking that. Oh, by the way, here. She hands him a list. This is a list of the days and... well, there are a few dates on there that I definitely cannot be on Sept, and there is the possibility that the other dates that I might not be able to be here. So if you can arrange for someone to accompany me.
He files through the list of dates. Just looking at him, Cinnamon can tell that, yeah, he's actually paying attention and just kind of mentally noting all the different days.
At one point, you can see actually several weeks on end in January. But it's basically the list is made in two different colors. One color is that's the times when she definitely has to leave, and then the other color symbolizes when she isn't sure. And that's all in isn't sure.
Interesting. Well then, I'll have to make the appropriate arrangements. And he folds it up and puts it in his pocket.
And she'll shrug and look back into her laptop again. Deletes a sentence. Kind of angrily smashing the button. Tick, 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 tick. And starts typing.
For some reason, I just really love the idea that she's like single finger, just.
Yeah, well, that's literally the case. Tick, 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 tick. Kind of like a typewriter, but then.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. By now, Olaf's cigarette has run the course of his short life, and he puts it on the bottom of his boot, takes a small plastic baggie out of his pocket, and puts a cigarette butt in there, and that goes back in his pocket. Okay. Well, I am a guru of my word as well. You'll receive accompaniment.
Great.
And in case you were curious, I saw what you did there. You were still within the bounds. Good job.
You saw what I did where?
The corner of his mouth just kind of quirks up for a moment in a bit of a smile. Why, out by your favorite coffee place, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I didn't go there.
I know. After all, Daniel himself brought you it, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can verify that with him.
I could. It's true. You'll notice this entire time that like Olaf has been bizarrely down key compared to his normal behavior. It's a little off-putting, just the visceral difference between how he used to behave and how he is currently behaving, especially since he himself was talking about how high the moon was. You can P&E for more details, but that's what I've got right now.
Let's throw a P&E. Sin on her part is she's actually trying to pull a conflict there. She really is pissed, and you can see that she's not hiding it. She wants to get into that screaming competition, but him being so mellow, it's not getting there, and that's very annoying for her. Actually,
I've got 2.
3.
Mabe, you've seen him do this before. Yeah, the moon's high. He is rage 4, but he's also willpower 8. That's what you've got. Is like, yeah, it seeds inside of him, but for whatever reason, he's able to keep it down. Cinna, you've seen this because you've been around Arun and Galliard types your entire life. Yes, he is a boiling,
you mean a
massive
few
psychotic
months?
rage. Or, sorry, your entire Garuish life, kinfolky. I keep forgetting she wasn't like a lifelong knowing kinfolk, but
Nope.
long enough, man. Long enough out here in New York where the time seems to expand. Yeah, you've seen this enough. Galliards and Aruns and people with just unnaturally high rage for their auspice who have an excessive amount of willpower that crashes down on that kind of stuff and holds it back. Most of his body language and what he's doing seems very practiced, as though it's not quite him, but it's what he's learned how to do.
Maeve, for her part, isn't necessarily thinking, but so much of it. Her willpower is, easily more than double. No, it's double her age, so it's rarely something she has to, really think about.
Hmm. It's kind of ditto here, but Cinna notices it, and she looks at Olaf, then back into the laptop again, and just mouths a word. She's not saying it out loud, but because she's still trying to piss him off, actually. Sorry, it's really bad, but that's what she's really pissed off. She wants to yell at something, and the object that she wants to yell against is. So she kind of whispers the word phony, basically directing at her screen.
Let me roll P and A, actually, because you're whispering and you'd have to kind of catch the motions of her lips, so to speak.
Yeah.
I probably got it.
Yeah, you got it.
He quirks his brow again. Something you want to share with the class?
I didn't know we were in session.
Yeah, life is learning.
Well, this wasn't a course that I chose to pick on my curriculum.
Me neither. Kind of a strange thing, really. I never went to high school, or more than the second grade now that I think about it. Never went to college or any of that. But people throw the terms around so much you can't help but pick things up. One of the things I picked up is sometimes you can elect. I think they call it electives. And sometimes it's a requirement. You, me, Mabe over here, we're in a requirement, or my favorite word, duty.
Cinna literally rolls her eyes at that.
Maeve is perpetually and obnoxiously mellow throughout the whole thing.
You rail against this. Why?
Why? Really? I don't know. Gee, maybe because the thing that I did to help everybody just got taken away from me. Like the one thing that I can actually do, the one thing that I'm actually good at, and you just throw it away in a dustbin like that?
He's quiet for an odd period of time as he studies her. And I'm actually going to P&E, why not? Yeah, I got the 2 going for me.
Yeah. Caged animals?
Yeah.
The general response, that's kind of what you see in Cinna.
Okay. Independent spirit.
Why do you all keep saying that like that's a bad thing?
Because wolves aren't independent animals. She's still got her head bowed over what she's doing, but she's gonna speak without even bothering to look up.
Well, fuck that shit then. I mean, I'm trying to stand by you, and what do I get? If I would have shut up, if I would have been independent, I would have not been in this situation. I'm sorry, sticking your neck out for someone just gets you slapped in the face. What use is it to try and form a group if you just get fucked by it anyway?
What you got struck down for was letting your independence get the better of you in the first place.
Oh, come on. Bullshit. I was standing there. You only called May forward. You didn't call me forward.
It's called
Or you would
making an
have done
example,
so.
Cinna. I'm the only one, I mean, think about it. I'm the only one who doesn't mind being stuck here. I've been stuck here this whole time. I don't have places to be. I'd like to see my family, but they can come here if I really need them. It was kind of clever, really. And it makes the example that there is consequences for your actions.
If you're really a group, you stand by each other.
And when people mess up, there are consequences. When you break the rules, there are consequences. I understand.
Well, screw the rules. They suck. And besides, if you decide on a punishment, don't make it a universal one. That's bullshit.
And I'm here to enforce the rules. That's my job.
Fuck them.
People who don't like the police are people who do things they're not supposed to be doing. It seems the same way with the Philodoxes. I've never had an issue with the police. I think it's annoying that we can't walk around at night now because, well, we'd be breaking a law, but I don't hate them for doing their job because most of the time it's in my favor because I'm not doing things I'm not supposed to do.
I'm not hating anyone for doing their job. Yes, I'm mad at them. Yeah, well, I am. But not at his person. I'm mad at his decision. Duh.
It does kind of suck, and I'm sorry that you got stuck in this.
I mean, I've lived with a Philodox. I never questioned him. Not his person.
Be mad at me.
Why would I be mad at you? I'm mad at the situation, and I have the right to be mad at the situation.
You do. But I was still the one that you were helping instead of being independent. I'm still the reason that it happened. And I feel bad about it.
I need to be able to do my job. We want the police gone, and we need to be able to let me do my job. This way, it's not going to work. I'm mad. I'm frustrated. Yes, I'm angry. I understand Olaf had to do his job. I don't understand. I think, no offense, Olaf, your punishment was not right. And I keep saying that. I keep objecting to that. Wasn't right, no matter what anyone says.
Well, its punishment was designed for me.
You are the questioner. Suppose this is practice.
It makes sense. And at least you still can leave, and it's essentially, I mean, for you, right now, the rules are essentially the same as they were before, except for the whole doing the flop thing all the time, but it's essentially the same thing. Like, he made it sound like a big deal, but we're still just confined to the sept, and we have to have, and well, you have to have someone with you if you leave. I can't leave at all, but that's the same as the rules were before this all happened.
My home is in Long Island. I just started to bring back my shit there, and now I'm homeless again. The Cubs cabin is growing. It's becoming too big. There's no way we all fit in there.
Oh,
unless
you didn't
we're
hear?
End up killing each other at some point.
No, Cinna, they're gonna give us another cabin so the girls can move out of Lucas's and we'll have our own. Something
Yay,
where we
summer
each
camp.
get our room. Well, it's better than a beanbag, right? You'll actually
Well,
have a room that'll be yours.
my work brings certain risks. Why do you think I made that list? Why do you think I put weeks on there? Because it would be smart if I would not be here for weeks with the plans that I have.
Just find someone. I mean, there's gotta be someone here you like. Someone you don't mind having around. Someone who's a friend.
It's not that. Look, the thing that upsets me most is I'm working on a plan that will hopefully shake up everything in the city.
Well, she'll
Trying to bring the
finally
mayor down.
look up properly. How does that help us? What is the mayor doing?
Well, the police never put up a curfew before. We lost influences. We lost people that were helping us on the inside. Gerard lost a lot of his contacts simply because she let go so many people. She was already strange because when the election was there, she came up completely blank. There was nothing on her record, as if it had been wiped clean and polished. I don't trust it one bit, and I'm doing what I should be doing, and I'm doing it for the Seventh. I'm ragabashing. I'm questioning. I do it my style. The point is, if I lash out to something this big, and I think that that needs to happen, because I've heard a shit ton of troubles, not just with us, but with others as well. But if I'm gonna lash out to something that big, if it is something bad, people will start looking to me. If I'm here, they will be looking at Central Park. I don't think that's such a good idea.
Interesting.
We could always have an apartment in your name outside of the park, so that
I
people
have
will
an
look there,
apartment.
even if you stay here.
If
It's
they
not like you're
follow
on
me,
record as being here. If they
if they
follow you,
follow
that's one
me,
more reason to have a friend, so that you can see them following you.
I don't want to bring any danger to anyone because of my actions.
Well, let's just say someone did follow you to the park. And you came here, and you met people, and you chattered, and you went around. Do you really think they could follow you here for a whole day, all the way back to the cabin?
I don't know. Look, I don't know what's gonna happen. But there's some... It doesn't feel right. The entire thing with the mayor, it doesn't feel right. She's involved in everything. The previous mayor wasn't that involved. Doesn't make sense. All in all, it just has a bad vibe.
You brought this up to Morning Kill?
A bit. He's gonna help me by using his contacts to get a gallery for the photo exhibition that I'm planning to do. Along with the news article, I hope that will kick up enough dust so that more people will start questioning. Someone has to kick it off.
And this, Cinna, is why independence isn't always the first move. Because right now, I'm in a position to help you, believe it or not. There's a very specific Ragabash that I happen to know is quite skilled in matters like this. Now, I'm gonna end up having to have him work a case for a minute. But in the long term, very skilled in matters like this, especially when it comes to giving people the slip without breaking certain boundaries of our laws. I will speak to him soon about all of this, see what he can do to help your work along. Had you not brought this up, had I never known of this, you wouldn't really have his services on hand.
Well, it's just a plan yet. I haven't talked to anyone yet. I wanted to talk to either Emmett or Aaron to see if they could help me with some computer research. So I've done my thing, but I'm not as talented as they are. I just use the Google handy.
My personal opinion, at the moment, I would say Emmett Wilson is a bit burnt out.
Yeah, my first idea was to go to him, but because I don't know Aaron that well, Aaron Rhodes, I believe. But I don't want to. I know Emmett is tired, and I don't want to wear him down.
I've run a couple missions with Aaron. I'm pretty sure I can get in contact with him.
So you don't disapprove of this?
The current mayor has been a giant pain in our asses. I don't like her either. But, well, we're just in the planning phase yet. People inside the sept will have to be contacted. The execution will have to be meticulous, but all in all, not a bad idea.
I was actually hoping to release the first article in January. I've started working at a new newspaper. They are still looking to profile themselves, and well, especially since my recent article kind of kicked so much dust up on the fishery.
How bad of a hit did you take after the Magadon article came out? Their rebuttal.
Nothing. You mean the thing with the fishery and their reply, basically? Nothing.
Good. I would have been pretty pissed off if you got bitten for, well, quite frankly, one of the best articles I've read in a year.
Thanks. But, well, I don't know about this. I don't know about the mayor.
And that's
We'll
the
see.
problem, isn't it? You're right. None of us do. I watched the poll numbers. I kept an eye on the election. And then out comes this blank slate riding to the top on a wave of fucking magical fairy dust, practically. Bothers me too. Before that night, she was essentially an unknown in the poll numbers.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I need to gather info as much as possible, and the thing mainly is the thing that Garrett said. You have to know what kind of ripples you cause, and I realized that yesterday when you judged me. That I don't know. I don't know what this is going to bring to me. But it's not a smart thing if I face the ripples here, while being here. I need to be able to move around because I need to be able to not be pinned down and to not, especially not be pinned down here.
Well, Sinna, Do you remember your sentencing?
If there's a
Because
good reason.
I specifically calls that when it was for the necessity of your works, as you so brought them up on behalf of the Sept, you'd be accompanied by someone. I'd say you should get working on your argument about how this is a work for the Sept.
You don't
I'm
think it
quite
is?
deliberate with my words. Oh, me? Well,
You were the one who was
you're on the way.
sentencing us. You're the one
True,
who's
and
judging what is and what isn't for the good of the
you're,
set.
you're on the way to convincing me. I guarantee that I won't be the only one asking questions. So, for now, plan your plans, do your works within the confines of your punishment and litany, and stay in touch. I'll be sure to arrange accompaniment for you when you need it. Ain't none of us gonna ride alone. Olaf gets up and kind of dusts off, well, his own behind. I mean, the porch is relatively clean, but it's not always clean when Kick stuff places. And looks between the two of them. Anything else?
Yes. You say no one rides alone. How come so many of you guys feel alone?
Go ahead and P&E him.
Eh. That's a bad roll. Sorry.
Seems legit.
Oh wait.
Attack.
I think I have one die more on that.
Not to me, it doesn't.
There's a one success.
For Cinna, you seem to have stumbled him momentarily. You might have struck a chord, you're not sure. For Mabe over there, to quote a great man, hypocrisy, thy name is Guru.
Maybe we'll chime in and say that's why I'm here.
I'd have to say the answer to that question is a rather individual matter. Best answer I can give you at the moment.
I can talk to you about it if you want later.
I don't understand. Well, I do I don't know. I understand the feeling. It just worries me. Never mind. It's fine.
It worries me a lot too. This is the only thing I'm good at.
I know someone who felt very alone. Very alone. Actually, I know more.
And point me in the right direction and tell me what I need to know to help them.
Alex Greenlee.
Ah,
Alan.
I wish I had been here. Oh, don't start that. I hear it every time. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy.
Never you mind about Greenlee.
I do mind about him.
Maeve will shoot her a quick little glance. Let's see how well I manage to pull this off. And actually, with all the bonuses, I should be fine. I'm just going to, unless you protest, assume success because it's a ludicrous number of dice. But she's gonna pitch Senna the little, like, totally worth it look, like the little tiny shake of head, like an understanding glance, but a teeny tiny shake of head. Because picking your battles is a thing.
Well, first of all, Senna has about the same amount of dice to throw back.
Oh, it's true. I'm not trying to manipulate her. I'm trying
no,
to.
I know.
It's do expression. I can
I'm
do expression if you want. If
No,
she
no,
takes
don't
it.
worry. I understand that you get your point across very well. It's just that I'm trying to look to see if impatient, overconfident, curiosity.
It's up to you how she responds and whether
Well,
she
that's
takes
kind of what
the
I'm
advice.
trying to determine. How is she gonna respond?
Oh, dude, I've been there, man. I've been there.
I'm kind of like, will she accept it because she realizes that? But then again, this is a sore spot, and it's a sore spot for many people. Feel free to interrupt.
If it comes down to it, if she opens her mouth to talk, Maeve will just kind of pipe up and say, "Pick your battles."
I meant for Talia, actually.
Oh, yes, too. She also clearly needs to be here. We're just sitting on the porch, bro. Come here. Come here.
Well, if this would be a good time for an interruption, then
Always a
she
good
got the
time.
message a little bit late, but you'll see Talia appearing probably from the other side of the cabins, like up the path, walking towards you. And she will actually ask, looking a bit serious here, am I interrupting something? I can go the other way if that's what's needed.
And Maeve is going to be like, "Look, a shiny distraction," and immediately engage Talia, pumping up the cheer and just kind of waving at her and going, "Did you hear we're going to get our own cabin?"
We being who? And, hi?
Well, hello there, Talia. I am sure you are at the mood and know. I am currently your den father. A decision was made. There was a new first change, another Arun, like you. Basically, there are so many of you that it's been arranged with Kailani that there will be a women's cabin and a men's cabin. Not because I necessarily distrust you lot, but because there's a lot of you.
We'd even get rooms instead of beanbags. Who doesn't want that? I mean, you can have beanbags in your room. Firm nod.
I certainly won't turn down an increase in personal space. As nice as Lucas's cabin has been, but I'm not opposed to sharing, but a bit more personal space certainly wouldn't go amiss. But
No.
sorry, haven't seen you since Olaf, I guess. Right. I guess you bit more formal than uncle now.
Indeed. I'm not one to insist on being called Raya at all times, so just stick to Olaf.
I still like Uncle Olaf.
Okay. How goes your training with Travis, Raya?
Training? Well, as I'm sure you're aware, he's been slightly busy, but I've been trying to catch him when I can, and we've been trying to pick up some of the more serious aspects of, well, as serious as he gets anyway.
Indeed. As I've said to these two, I think you all need someone of your specific auspices to learn from, at least in how you execute things like combat from the perspective of that auspice. As much fun as young Albert has been having training in hand-to-hand combat with me, well, I'm a Get Phylodox, and I fight like a Get Phylodox. I'll talk to Travis. We'll see what we can arrange, because after all, he is in a rather busy set position. And frankly, so is Teeth of Titanium Raya.
Indeed.
So, I'll make those arrangements as I can. Is there anything you need from me at the moment, Talia?
Not right now that I can think of, but I'm sure I'll let you know if I do. But if there's anything else I can do for you right now, I know it all seems to have been a bit of a shake-up.
I kinda saw it coming.
Shrugs. Well, I guess if you're happy, we're more than happy to have you.
That's good.
Noddle, noddle.
As of tomorrow, I'm going to do my best to pick things up. Make sure that you all know what you're supposed to know. Especially with you three, I believe basic etiquette in terms of survival are covered, but getting more comfortable with your forms, that sort of thing, it'll either be myself or someone more suited. After all, my main position is to guide you and nurture your growth so that you can all become Cleath.
Being more comfortable with forms, as you say, we've had, I've been there with some of the others as well. People seem to be quite happy to talk to us, but I know things have been busy, but some of the other things I definitely feel probably lacking in right now.
Such as?
I suppose maybe lacking's the wrong word. I wouldn't maybe use that. I'd maybe say I'd like more experience.
With?
With... He seems to be pondering. Well, I believe Maeve discussed it as well. We'd kind of like to spend more time as a wolf, because... Well, I haven't always had the best experiences with that, or had as much time to do that, and that seems to be quite important.
Indeed. When I was a cub, I had to hunt my own dinner every night, but then again, I lived in a place where wolves in the wilderness were not uncommon.
Now, I understand it is not terribly practical here. However...
Actually,
Hmm?
I know when I was still kinfolk, at some point we had to hunt for, I don't know, it was something for Katrina. He made something for us, but in return we had to hunt because that was achievement or something. I don't know. Anyway, there is about an hour drive, I guess, from here or something. There is a piece of wildlife. How do you call it? Reservate?
No reservation.
Ah,
Yeah, maybe we can from time to time train there.
that's a good idea.
That sounds like a great idea.
And you owe us a real hunt. Something bigger than bunnies.
Well, I tell you what, when I can arrange it, take a drive out to a good place somewhere with deer, and then I'm gonna show you how to take down something bigger than your body.
Yeah.
I took
That
down a
sounds-
bobcat.
Yeah.
We'll start with deer, and if you really want to take on other predators, I'll see what I can do.
Like a mountain lion? What's even up here?
Well,
Oh.
as I said, I did take down a bobcat. They had bears there as well. There was one of them that
We
was
would not
fighting the
touch
bobcat
bears.
earlier.
He
No,
seems very
we
firm
didn't.
about that.
Well,
I wouldn't
whoa,
want to.
chill. I mean, we didn't. I just said there
Easy,
was one.
Olaf.
Okay, that's good. Like for as sudden as that thing about bears was, with everyone, or not rather, but rather two people coming at him from like two directions with "We're not messing with the bears." He's good. He's good again. Nobody messed with him. He's cool.
Jeez.
Ooh. Hey, Senna.
Yeah.
How good are
what?
you at finding stuff?
Average.
I'm not the best at tracking, but this isn't really tracking per se. So, if we were gonna get honeycombs, winter's the best time to do it, because then the bees will be hibernating instead of stinging our everything.
You can take him from the wild. This is true.
I don't really have money. I only have the glassworks because Kachina did it for me.
To be honest,
I
think you can best smoke them
personally-
out.
You can. My personal preference, you can find them very readily at shops in Chinatown. That's where I usually buy them.
She sticks her tongue out. I feel like it means more if you go and get it yourself. And if I'm going to bring something to bear, I want us to actually get it, and I'll put Gnosis in it.
Olaf smiles and reaches down and pats Mabe atop the head.
Head pats for May.
Want to actually find things in the woods. I don't claim to be an expert tracker, but I've spent some time out in the woods like most summers, so I might be able to help with that.
She'll noddle.
This is
I'd like to
all-
be able to try to find a hive. The natural one. Not take too much. Don't want the hive to die out, but take a piece of honeycomb and bring it back for bear.
These are all very good thoughts. I will speak with my predecessor. I know he was planning something to this order not that long ago. I'd prefer that lesson be seen through. After all, I started to learn this job from someone, yes?
Noddle.
It's always easier to start something to finish something that's already started.
Indeed. Now, if you all will excuse me, I have some duties that I need to see through. And he heads off.
And Mavis going to beckon Talia over.
She'll move up to where you guys are at the porch from where she's been.
And she's got a pair of horns next to her, and these are this isn't like cow horns, like these are, or steer horn. This is like exotic, something that's obviously been imported, a spiraled horn. And she has two of them, and she's been fiddling with one. She's got a bit of sandpaper and has been smoothing the edges, and has only just now taken out the knife to start chipping to make a mouthpiece at the narrower end. And she'll kind of gesture to them and say, these are probably going to be pretty easy, but I've heard of something that I might be able to make once I've learned. I guess Olaf called it a harmony flute. She'll kind of look over to Senna for like some sort of nod or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen that thing. That was months ago.
I've never
Really?
seen it. I've heard about it though.
And what would one of those be when it's around? Sounds like it's got a nice name and all, but
Basically, it keeps the situation. It gets the sting out of a situation. Calms people down. What it boils down to.
okay.
But from what I've learned about making things like this, making items that are meant to last, it's best to make them yourself, make them by hand, than to go and buy something. It means more to the spirits that you've taken the effort. So while I'm not especially handy with the woodwork, making a wooden flute shouldn't be too hard. And, I've played with pan pipes some, but so I should kind of be able to help you get them at the right tone, but Sin would probably be better at that than I am, than helping you put holes where they're on key or something like that. I
So
mean,
you're
I know
looking
you
for
don't
like
play the flute, Senna. I'm sorry, don't look at me that way. But you
No,
do you do play
what
music.
I know of the holes where you put the flute, that's something that you really need to know. That's some knowledge that goes like towards science and everything. But I guess I can at least look it up, the distances.
Well,
That's not a bad idea.
I suppose at least if you're there, then if someone can blow across it, and if you can at least if you're musical, you can at least recognize the right notes and tones. You can recognize if it's making any kind of the right sounds.
True. Yeah, I don't mind helping out.
Maybe will throw her hands up. Group project. Sorry, I get excited.
I guess so. Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't claim to be great with woodworks, but if I can maybe look something up to see how someone else has done it and give it a few attempts. Do we have any particular? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's going to take me a few goes probably to get this right.
That's fair. And she will point to Senna, who has a laptop like in her lap. So
Hmm.
as far as looking stuff up,
I can look stuff up if you wanna see if I can give some examples. See, maybe there are some YouTube vids on how to make a flute. You know, the basics are really simple. You have a hollow piece of wood, and especially if you make like a queer flute.
Yeah, I mean, the basics should be fine. I was just trying to I guess as you say, more about the note placement.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll look up some YouTube vids and some theories and stuff and distances. So I think
There's
that should be
everything
able
on
to find
YouTube.
about.
There is everything on YouTube.
Exactly.
you say so.
Internet is the world. Anyway.
Yeah, all we have back home is an old computer, so we didn't really watch videos very much. Didn't deal with them too well.
My parents had them blocked. Then again, my parents had a lot of stuff blocked, and I was only allowed to use the computer for homework specific. And I learned to, when I finally went to a school, instead of being taught at home, that's when I finally got to learn the computer, and I wanted it so bad. Because I always used to sneak towards my dad's office and try to do something, and he always found out, of course, because then I'd been messing with his settings and everything. And, well, when I finally had a school, I started to really get to, I don't know, I was really excited about using a computer and everything, so that's why I guess I kind of got the hang of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can use them. As you say, I had to use them for school, but that was more my sister's thing. They're fine, but I've never really had my own. I used to just steal hers. I never really sat still long enough. I mean, it was fine for watching videos and doing homework and whatever, but it never grabbed me as it does some people. But they are useful.
Maeve just kind of shrugs. I'm used to turning to a library, and there is a big one at Belvedere, so I may be able to even find some books about. Well, especially there, I guess it makes sense that there would be stuff about making instruments. They'll probably be old and kind of cumbersome, but it's probably good advice.
Maybe we can try and get some shortened versions.
I'll make
Whilst
cliff
I'm
notes.
happy to look at them, I have to admit I'm more with, I'll be honest, I probably won't get through a big hefty tome.
I can take notes.
Sure, if you want to, I'll give it a go.
I'll see what I can dig up and take some notes and bring them back to you about it.
I'll tell you what, I'll try and dig out some wood tonight anyway and try, at least whittling the main shape, so at least then I've got a good shape to work from.
Yep. I should totally beg Kachina to get you some better wood tools, like the big kind, like the plug-in kind.
If you want to, and if we're allowed to, I can. Well, I probably can't, but I can point you in the direction where I got the clay for Maeve. It was in the like. I got the beads at the shopping mall when we were shopping. The clay and the tools. I had to. I went out on my own to this specialized shop for that.
Well, they're gorgeous, so I can't really be mad. I worry
Well,
about you.
they better be.
Well, I have all the small tools. I have some pretty good ones that I've always had that I managed to get back from my apartment. Some of the stuff I actually brought with me. But, I mean, I don't have any big electrical things, as you say, but in terms of
Actually,
wood, I'd probably rather see what I can find round here. Surely something, if you're wanting to do what you say and trying to please the spirits, I mean, I don't pretend to understand the spirits, but I'd assume that something from the environment will be better than something bought in a shop that's been, like, heavily
She'll,
processed.
you know, I
she'll
just
nod, but
realized
glance over at Senna.
there's there's the forges. Like
Mhm.
we have a forge on Sept.
Yeah, that's where we put the glassworks.
Well, I
Because I
bet
have
you
to
that they
have.
have woodwork, like the big, more electrical stuff, the bigger woodwork materials. I'm
Actually,
sure they
yeah.
have it there.
Yeah, sure. That would make sense. I can at least ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
essentially made like an extension to the forge for the glasswork because I have to have something a lot like that with a bed of coals, as it were. I have to have flame for the glass.
and if not there, there might be. I know Zeke had his own workshop, and he was more into electronical stuff, but maybe he has something as well. I don't know who's actually doing something with that right now, but it would be a shame to leave it like that.
We could ask Ren. She seemed really close to him.
To be
Hmm.
fair, wouldn't the castle have some basic like drills and stuff for maintenance? And
I don't
the
know.
park for maintenance. I mean, I've
Yeah,
never
or the
built fancy
keepers.
tools.
Oh,
Like
that's
you
a
could
good
ask
point.
the keeper of the land as well. I'm sure she has some. Well, enough ideas.
He.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Wait,
we've got
actually,
plenty of.
yeah, that's a good point. Oh, you should see if you could, if you wanted to have a job. I bet you they hire for maintenance around the park, and that would give you
Hmm.
access to the tools too.
Plus something to do.
Yeah, I could really do with something to do. I will
You
definitely.
should ask. Kotori is keeper right now, right?
Well, he's keeper of the land, but I mean, like, even just as a mundane job, this is still a park, and there's still
Mm-hmm.
maintenance people that work here. And I
I.
bet you we have a bunch of kin in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally. I was sentenced to do keeper duty for a month when I was a kid.
Well, I wouldn't take it as a sentence. I mean, if they can pay me some money and I can be useful to.
Yeah, no, there were more people who were doing it paid or just doing it because it was their duty for the Garou Nation. But I just did it because I got sentenced into doing it.
That's fair enough, but my money supplies are getting a bit low, so I could really do with something to bring some more in. I
Well,
don't wanna. I don't like being beholden on everyone.
Yeah,
well,
see if you can apply.
if that doesn't work, and you want to do something with your hands, um, maybe ask Gerard. He has a garden and everything in his mansion, and if you like gardening, that is. If you don't, I don't know.
Ooh.
But
I have to admit, I've not really had to do gardening as in fancy gardening. I mean, I've helped chop down some trees, but I don't think that really
Well,
counts.
then, well, it's also things like even if you're not like a super pro, I know everything about every type of flower, you can still weed and
yeah,
when new flower beds need to be
yeah, you
made, they
can
still
learn
have to be
from
dug up
that.
and turned.
Sure. I might try the park stuff first, but if not, I'll go and ask out.
Well, if you want me to ask him, I can ask him. I know he has people. I know he has people who work in his garden, and he has the money to pay you, and you don't need to be worried about any veil breaches because it's his garden and there's only kin there in his house. So, in a way, you'd be safe, I guess.
It's not a bad setup, really.
But I would
So yeah.
definitely suggest to try to use the park first because, well, you know.
No, I wouldn't. That's very sweet of you, Senna. I will keep it in mind, but I will. To be honest, I feel sometimes I'm not so different from yourself. I'd like to try and get something myself first, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure, of course. It's just, I know Gerard, and
Yeah, I would. It's very nice of you. I'll. She looks slightly awkward, but sure. I
if
don't
you
really
need,
want to.
just perk.
If it comes down to it, I might even ask, just because. Well, I mean, I know a lot about the plants that we kept, the actual vegetables and things we've grown, but I don't know a lot about necessarily different flowers and whatnot. And so I'm sure if I went there and did some gardening in exchange for a little teaching, that might be worthwhile. The more I know, the more I can use to please this spirit or that spirit, right?
Hmm.
Oh, that does sound more delicate and maybe more up your street.
It actually does.
Grins.
Also, Talia, don't forget that there is the Central Park Zoo, where they still, I guess, also can use people to just, you know, do jobs that just keeps you occupied and not sit behind a desk 24/7.
Yeah, I haven't got a great reputation with animals. But I'll keep that in mind.
They need other things than animals as well, I guess.
Well, it's not even always handling animals. There's the people who have to go in and clean up the enclosures. There's people who have to go around and just make sure that the feed is prepared and put in the proper pens for when they're brought back in for feeding. Things like
Tourist
that.
guides, stuff like that, you know.
Gift shop.
Oh God, no, that might.
That would be pretty much the worst. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the gift shop is really my calling. When someone gets seeing as how well me dealing with customers was last time. But I've had some experience with the Parks Authority before, so I can probably get a reference, at least from last summer.
Mhm.
Pardon as I'm distracted for just a second.
But
Well, all right. Well, I mean, we got a plan. And
Fun.
Cinna's got a sort of kind of punishment to play with working around. It sounds like it's not so much that you have to convince Olaf, he understands. You just have to give him a good enough argument for when other people try to pin him down for it.
God, Sam. Why would he think I was mad at him?
Oh, you were pretty mad. It's hard to tell what you're mad at, especially like when you're yelling at someone about the thing and it seems like something they've caused. It's easy to think that they're the one you're mad at.
I think sometimes some of the biggest and hardest of people are sometimes the softest underneath. They know what they have to do, but they know it also affects other people, but that doesn't mean they can't not do those things.
Yeah, I know.
And I know it really sucks.
Tell me about it. Actually,
Oh, and Talia, I don't know if you've seen him yet. The new guy, Chino, covered in tattoos, like as much as Olaf.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's the new Arun he was talking about. He is
Yeah, I've heard some words bandied about, but I haven't actually met him yet. I've been out and about today.
I mean, the scoop is that. I mean, he is what he looks like. He's some street thuggy type guy. He's pretty scrappy.
street guy.
He's
From
a
where?
little street buggy guy. Huh?
From where?
I don't know, but I know he said something about Rowan, and he knows Ren. He
Rowan?
seems like he was knowing
Is
kin.
is he one of the Cholos?
I I don't know. I guess so.
Is he kin of Rowan? Roanoke.
I guess. I don't know.
He has to be one of the
I wasn't there
Cholos.
until they got to sight.
You
Back to the
know.
set.
The name kinda rings a bell, I guess. Hmm.
She kind of helplessly shrugs.
I've been staying with the Cholos a while ago when I was still a kid. I've been staying with them for about a month-ish or so. Sometimes I had to be at the mansion, but because Roanoke was one of my mentors as well, he taught me about spirits and everything, but then he disappeared. Kind of sucks.
Why'd he disappear?
I don't know. Me and Xavier, we went on a search because Xavier was kind of the same as me. Also had him to teach him stuff, and he we went to visit his place, which was burned to the ground. We found a
Wow.
towel. Yeah.
A towel?
Yeah, and that's all more. I never heard back from Xavier about it, and I don't know. Apparently there was some kind of bane attached to the towel. I don't really know anymore. I don't know exactly. He was mentioning something like that, and he was gonna let it be researched by, I don't know, either Kachina or Kotori, I believe.
Oh, and fair warning, I guess it's something to do with his spirit, but he feels kind of wormy. He's not, but it's kind of like
Can't.
I don't know if you were there, Cinna, when Laughing Shadow showed us what he looks like in the Umbra, but I feel like it's
No, I
kind
wasn't
of the
there. I
same
don't know
thing.
Laughing Shadow. Never met him.
He looked like a terrible, horrible monster in the Umbra.
Uh,
This doesn't sound comforting.
Hmm,
well,
I don't know. He's nicer
why
than
not?
Teeth.
It's like Rens the Pure looked like a very, as far as I can remember, just a normal, everyday guy, and he turned out to be one of the big bads. Why wouldn't the monster be one of the goodies? Nothing makes
Sure,
sense ever, so.
sure, I
And
guess.
Maeve nods.
Not a lot makes sense here, so why should green not be blue and blue not be green?
Exactly.
But this new guy, like, I mean, how's he taking it? Is he alright? I mean,
Yeah.
Um, he seemed really upset about having to stay on Sept, but
I can
Olaf and
imagine.
Mikhail taught him about the litany and explained to him why it was important and that they would go with him to see his family and his boys, quote, like air quotes.
Yeah. It's
So
if he's really part of the Cholos, and I think he is from what you've described me, he is they're one big family and they stick out for each other and they take care of Abuela and you know,
he did,
she's
I
the
think,
best.
mention his abuela.
She's the best.
So
She's so awesome.
yeah, that sounds about right. And I mean, he seems like I was kind of worried at first when I saw him, which probably isn't very fair, but he seems reasonable. It seems like when he was listening to the litany, a lot of it kind of rang true to the things he'd been taught living out where he lives and doing what he does. So
Mhm.
well,
once he realized that being, quote, stuck on Sept meant the entirety of Central Park, he calmed down some.
to be
He's,
fair, I remember
he's
it being pretty stifling. In fact,
well,
it's,
he's been, I think he's been in jail before, and this is nothing like that. you have plenty of room to run around. There's lots to do. There's lots of places to go.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily the amount of space that you get. Just the
Agreed.
feeling that you can't get out. I can understand that I don't like this at all. I'm
Nope.
Never mind. No.
Senna, I completely. Oh, I'm not going to pretend to understand your frustrations, but I share some of your frustrations. I feel, but I just, if you can come up with an alternative for me, I'll help you out and I'll back you all the way. But I just,
Well, I mean, there's always just the simple version, which is really focus on ranking up so that we aren't Cubs anymore.
I guess. I just hate the
So,
boasting part. You know, that was one of the
well,
first things that
yeah.
I realized that, crap, now I not gotta do that kind of bullshit as well.
Make someone else do it for you. Isn't that how the right goes when they go on and on about your accomplishments? Yeah, well, they can do that and make me sound
Well,
super cool.
that's what they did when I was a kin. I got in this huge argument with another kin, name of Bettina, because they were all boasting about how epic they were, how much they had defeated, and I was kind of like, well, gee, do you really have to make such a fuss about it? And she went all in my face saying that I was insulting their, I don't know, something, insulting their community and their rights, their ideas. And I was like, well, I don't. It's just that I don't like this kind of stuff. I still don't.
I wouldn't call modesty a bad thing, really.
I'm not
I like to
modest.
think that I've done a lot. Well, I mean, I like to think that I've done a lot to help, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go around talking about all the great things I did. That's just silly.
Well, I
My
know that
actions
I've
speak
done
for
a lot of.
themselves.
Exactly. I know I've done a lot of things. Um,
Senna, it sounds more like this person was jealous. They clearly knew you'd done enough things without having to say about it.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't, she doesn't. She didn't even know me. She just arrived back from. I mean, what she did was kind of cool, I guess. She had to fight a uh, some Uber Black Spiral thingy. I don't know exactly anymore, but one some kind of super Black Spiral thingy that has a name
Well,
that
she sounds
everybody's
like a
like,
brat, so
oh.
there.
Well, she
Yeah.
was a brat. She's still around somewhere, but I haven't seen her in ages. She was married to
Well,
Blitzkrieg when I came into the fold here, when people told me about the nation and everything.
mm-hmm.
She was captured because she was fucking a fairy.
Well, that shows taste.
Hmm. And she was sent off to some place in Europe, and there she had to fight something, and she did, and everybody was like, "Oh my god!" And I totally knew you could do it. I was like, "Well, dude, really?" eh, I don't know. She's not my cup of tea. Let's keep it at that.
Yeah, it
It's
doesn't
okay.
sound like anyone particularly worth worrying about.
Hey, Senna,
Yeah,
how do you feel about Leah?
she's my best friend. Why?
Yeah? I don't know. She's just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
What happened?
Mm, well, I mean, I was friends with Callie.
Uh-huh.
And Callie was, I mean,
Okay, it's the best I can find. If you can't use them, whatever on.
uh, and I mean, Callie had her issues, everyone does, but a
Gods,
lot of
yes.
a lot of the things the thing that I noticed about Callie is that she seemed like she was desperate to feel like she had a family. She called me her sister. She bought us bunk beds.
Mm-hmm.
And, for all her other silly stuff, she was still always really sweet to me and always spoke fondly of her sister and always really cared. And I mean, the first time I met Leah, I mean, we just kind of hung out in the same group. I didn't really think anything of it. We didn't really talk or anything. But the second time I met her, Callie brought her back to the apartment, and the whole time she was just acting like Callie was some huge burden. You know, she just wanted to be cared about. She laid across our laps on the couch, put her head in Leah's lap, wanted her to stroke her hair, and it just seemed like Leah felt like, you know, she was so put upon having to deal with having a sister that wanted affection. She seemed annoyed. And when Callie fell asleep, she looked over and was telling me, you know, oh, you can get up. Don't even worry about her. And I'm like, but I do. I care. And I don't want to get up. I'm fine right here with her legs across my lap. I don't care. And then, I don't know. She just seems very either uncaring or spiteful. I don't know what the deal is. I know that there was something between them and that Callie did wrong by her, but it seems like all she was ever trying to do was make it up.
You know, the thing, I think the two of them really love each other, or loved each other, I should say, by now. Don't, that's absolutely true. Trust me. The problem, though, I don't know a lot about their family history, but Leah told me some. She told me that she really wanted to be Garou, and when Callie changed, it was difficult for her. She wanted to be like that as well, and she had the feeling that their mom put up more with Callie than with Leah, that Leah was kind of the second best child that was just there, you know, and not special. And I think that hurt her a lot, and I think she just really wanted to feel special. And being kinfolk, you know, it's it's difficult. It can be very difficult. I mean, seriously, I would give the world to go back to that place. But it's, especially with Leah, a lot of people were very, very overprotective of her. Not just Callie, but Callie mostly, of course, for being her sister, but it was Alan first, when they still had a relationship. When that broke up and she found Travis, he also had that. Um,
Well, I mean, of course they are.
well, yeah, but there is the thing that a lot of Garus seem to think that kinfolk are to be protected like porcelain dolls. And while I get that, especially now that I changed, I get that you look at kinfolk and you're like, well, we need to protect you because we're so much stronger than you are. But I've seen the other side. I've seen kinfolk fight with help each other, and fight through the things that, you know, that also attacked the rule. We've attacked Fomori when we were kin. We've defeated Fomori when we were kin, just with the kin. We can do stuff. I have a couple of things here from Leah that she made, and it's amazing, and they can be great in combat, and she's not. We want to be able to do stuff without immediately getting, well, you know, an amount of wolf fur on top of us to pin us to the ground because, oh my god, you're getting too close to the fire, you might get burned. It's like, we want to help out as well, and she wants to help out as well. She's been disregarded her whole life, and I guess that's kind of what gave her the attitude, I think. But she loves Kelly. She was. They were sisters, and they really loved each other.
And at points during this whole thing, she looks understanding. At other points, she looks kind of skeptical. It's all in all, she's getting the message, and it is having an effect. It is, like, you can see that she's really mulling it over and letting it sink in and kind of change her perspective some. But she doesn't look pitying or anything like that at the end. She just looks, maybe a little skeptical come the end bit.
Sinner shrugs. Well, maybe your personalities just don't match, you know? That could be a thing.
I mean, it's possible. I didn't understand, and I'll be honest, I really didn't want to go and spend a bunch of time with her to learn any different, because I feel like her attitude just rubs me the wrong way. I understand wanting to be useful and wanting to be capable and wanting to be seen as capable. I mean, I came here in the middle of Lucas going through all of his shit and saw that in some ways he was perfectly capable. Then again, he also had the sense to know when he wasn't. So, I don't know.
We all
I just
handle
haven't been
things in
sure
our
what
own
to
way.
think. And I try to do right by the kinfolk, but I just don't know how to feel about Leah, and I don't know many others besides her anymore.
Well, maybe if I still was a kinfolk, you would hate me too. I don't know.
Nah, I already liked you.
Dislike. I mean, not hate. But, well...
I already liked you, even when you were kin. I mean, you saw, Lucas and I came to you. We didn't go to some adult and check first. We didn't ask for advice on who to go to. We just came to you with something that we knew that was your strength.
Yeah. Yeah. On hindsight, well, but then again,
Yeah, don't worry, hindsight is kicking me in the tail.
don't
Maybe
feel
if you liked, maybe if you liked all of the people, I'd probably be more worried about you.
I try to like people. I try to understand people and understand what they're going through. It's a lot easier when they're hurt than when they're covering it with something else. And even the ones that are covering it, most of them, I can feel it out. I can find it. And I feel like that's what I'm here to do, is find what's hurting people and help them move past it. You remember the lesson, you forget some of the pain. You remember that it hurt, but it's just a memory, and it's not something that keeps you from doing what you have to do. Hell, I did that with Lucas, and, yeah, don't tell anyone, but he kind of set me on fire. Not on purpose. It was in the Umbra. It was how his spirit was reflecting how he felt. It was reflecting his pain, and I had to hold him through that. And I had to stop the fire to take away that pain.
That sounds incredibly noble of you. Terrifying.
It was pretty freaky.
I'm not quite in comprehension of quite why you would do that. Generally, people run away from people on fire.
Well, I mean, let's say that you went through something. Let's say that you lost someone, or people here were treating you unfairly, and it just put a fire in your belly. And there was nothing you could do about it, but it just hurt, and it burned, and it smoldered, and it made you bitter. If I came to you and I was holding you and we were in the Umbra and that manifested, I wouldn't stop holding you just because you were manifesting what you felt. At that point, it's my job to remove that feeling.
Jeez, I mean, you know what? I'm so glad there are people like you in the world. I genuinely don't think I've actually met someone who worries just about as much as other people as you, but I cannot pretend that I can have that strength of emotion for other people.
Well,
But
you have that strength of body that I don't, so it balances out. We all have something we're good at. We all have something we're bad at.
yeah,
I mean, that's why Cinna made the list, right? Just so we know what our strengths and weaknesses are. So we know who to go to and who to turn to and who to help when certain things come around that will hit those weaknesses. I mean...
didn't really know what to say on it for myself, though.
it's always
I know what you're
nearly perfect in everything is...
practically perfect in every way.
Yeah.
Are you Mary Poppins?
Of course
Do
I
you
am.
need a carpet bag? And a flying
If I
umbrella.
could,
Oh my
that
gosh.
would be awesome.
I would love to see you in one of those dresses.
With the little hat. She'd look
God, no.
really.
No, trust me. I can show you some pictures of my childhood, and no, I'm not gonna show you though, but no.
It's alright, you don't have the monopoly on mothers forcing their daughters into hideous dresses.
Yeah.
And those pictures should never ever come into the public eye.
Nope.
Aren't you glad we grew up before the internet?
Well, I
Or at
think
least
my
before
mom wouldn't
Facebook.
understand the internet if it hit her in the face.
So we've all got stuff to do. At some point, I think I want to kidnap all of us and make a visit back home with my folks.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. I mean, my parents are knowing kin. They know what we are. It's not gonna bother them, and I mean, we kind of got all types in our group right now. But I mean, how bad can it be when there's things like homemade apple butter?
I was bad enough with my family.
I was gonna say I'm not a family person. Like,
You don't have to do anything special. It's not like they're your parents. But
fair enough.
If it'll make you happy. Look slightly
if
sideways.
nothing else, it means if
Sit
nothing
on
else,
the
it means
great
you get to see
apple.
where I grew up, run around in the woods,
Where did you
jump in a
go?
hay bale. Everyone has to jump in a hay bale at least once in their life.
Oh God, my parents would murder me even now if they would see that.
Well, they will never know. It will be our dirty secret. Our
Then
terrible,
again,
terrible secret.
I mean, they would probably get a heart attack if they knew where I spent some of my nights, not just here, but anywhere. And even when I still lived at their place, like, there was this monastery. Well, it was ruins. It was, I believe it was left during the time of the War of the Roses,
Wow.
just abandoned. And yeah, it's what do you call it? Heritage now. Those ruins, they're still pretty much intact, especially the cellars. I had a secret place there where I stashed my booze and my party clothing. And um, every Saturday night I ended up there.
That's right. You're from overseas, aren't you?
Hmm.
That's awesome.
I
I
was
would
gonna
love to see
say,
ruins. I'd love to see the Umber side of the ruins. I bet there's spirits all over that place.
I don't know, but well, maybe at some point we can go and check it out.
That would be the coolest thing ever. You know, I'm not going to say, I'm just saying, that would be pretty much the coolest thing.
I haven't been back to the UK for a really long time, so sure, I'd like to go back.
Where did you live?
Well, only in London, but only till I was 5. Then Mother thought it was the best idea in the world to come to the States.
I mean, I was born here, but my folks are from Ireland.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I still don't know where. You know, I still haven't got a clue about my my real parents and where they came from. But
We'll find out.
Well, I know a little bit more. I
Yeah?
know the house. Well, the house. I don't know if I told you ever, but
Yeah, you were telling me you wanted to
yeah,
meet my uncle because some member
yeah.
of your house was there.
Maybe. I don't know. Um, what Gerard told me is that the house that I belong to, that it's kind of in banishment. There's whispers apparently that it fell to the worm or that was worm infested or something like that. I don't know the exact details, but apparently Fiona from Ireland, they they helped them out for a while, or still, I don't know exactly.
Well, we'll
So
find out.
yeah,
Field trip.
that's
Once we're adults, field trip.
once we're adults.
I'm sure there's a
Always
moon
something,
bridge.
isn't there?
Cheaper than flying.
Will one
Is there?
stretch all of that way?
Hmm?
Yeah. Actually, I
Oh,
think
they're so
either
great.
Aaron or Xavier told me once about something that's called the Sept of Ptah, which is
Yeah,
basically
isn't it where Thomas
could be, I don't know, but basically all moon bridges come there, and they have moon bridges to every location from there as well.
Wow.
and moon bridges are awesome.
Sure they are.
Well, master plan.
That it
Once we
is.
can leave. And hey, so I'd had a thought, and I can't
Mm.
remember if I talked to you guys about it, but like you know about the other cairn, right?
Which one? The one that got destroyed?
The one on Long Island.
Oh, the tree. Yeah.
The one we cleaned out, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, we're supposed to protect cairns, right? And there's no one over there.
Yeah, I know.
I figured maybe once we were adults, maybe once we had a pack of our own, we'd get our own stomping grounds.
You mean you wanna leave this sept?
Well, I'm sure we could connect them with a moon bridge. I don't know what that takes, but I'm sure we could do it so that we could travel back and forth readily and the others could come, but it would mean we'd have our own place to run around, our own territory. And hey, worst comes to worst, it's closer to where I lived.
Well, I don't know. Could be if we ever get to anything above Cub.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't.
Oh, we will.
I don't object to making plans, but
Actually, if
not
you
with
want
going
to, you can
anywhere
be
anywhere
any
fast.
here.
I will P&E the shit out of her. Why did... There we go. There's all my dice. But apparently, for once, I don't get shit.
Give me a moment. I need to attack my husband.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. So yeah, Maeve won't catch on. She'll kind of look at Talia. I mean, have you... Oh, fabulous. Thank you, Lurky ST. Thanks, voice in my head.
Damn it, lurker guesties.
But yeah, so she'll kind of look Talia's way and like just kind of cant her head a little. Be like, have you ever actually thought about that? I mean, all of the adults, or most of them anyways, have packs that they run in.
Yeah, someone was. I have to admit, when I first got here, I was just trying to get on with things, but it definitely does seem like something that she looks kind of thoughtful and is like, well, I haven't necessarily in the past been a team player, In fact, I believe several managers have put my lack of ability to work with teams on forms when they have to give you those stupid work evaluations. However, I guess here it does seem like sometimes working together, or at least having other people around, is necessary to get stuff done. And it'd be better to have people that you know you can turn to and that you trust.
Well, and I mean, think about it. You just have a group of people that you trust, that you've gotten together with, and you have each other's back. And from what I can tell, they can actually talk to each other over great distances. So no matter what you got into, no matter what you got up to, the people that you had decided you wanted to be close to would know if there was trouble.
Whilst not thrilled with the idea of having other people in my head, did you say, if it's
I
people
don't
you
think
know and trust, and there's beginning to be a few people now that I guess I could see that happening with. But
Well, I mean, I don't think it's quite the same as being in your head. It's like you can just talk.
okay.
I mean, I don't know if it goes deeper than that, but I know they can talk to each other.
Well, I guess let's just say I'm not entirely opposed to the idea, and I am coming around to it more. But as you say, I guess it would definitely have to be with people that you trust and that you want to be with, and that you, I guess, feel can support you and you can support. I wouldn't want to
And
just feel like I was dead weight on someone.
And there is no need to P&E because at this point she has the cheekiest smile on.
I'm pretty rubbish at that anyway, so...
Nope, she definitely, she looks pleased that she's coming around to the idea. Certainly does. She looks, in fact, quite overjoyed.
You look like you have a plan. Another plan.
Of course I do. Lucas and I have been planning forever.
Of course Lucas has a plan.
We always have a plan. And if you want to be, I don't see why you couldn't be part of the plan.
If I'm going to be part of someone's plan, I'd rather be part of your guys.
Good! You'll eventually have to meet Garrett. He's part of the plan, too. Like, meet him properly.
Oh, okay.
I know he's kind of skulky, but... You know, no matter what people say about Shadow Lords, he's always straight up with me. Always straight up. Oh, look! We have Asuna again, sort of. I thought we lost her forever. Pretty sure Senna's part of the plan, too. Side-eye. That's just a matter of coincidence. It's personality.
Maeve just attracts the questioning, impulsive people.
Maeve attracts the proactive people.
That too.
But yeah, I suppose at this point
We lost Senna again.
we did. She's so thoughtful right now. Look at her staring off into space. So thoughtful. That or like, you know, elbow deep in her computer.
Yeah.
Probably the latter.
She's probably something very exciting has just popped up on her screen.
Well, that or she had a sudden moment of inspiration and she's typing furiously. But yeah. I mean, I've got kind of a plan. It seems like a good plan. And of course it gets tweaked and changed as things change, but gotta have a plan.
Hey, if a plan helps us do something.
Oh yeah. That's what Lucas and I do. We do things. Sometimes things we're not supposed to do, but need to happen. Thankfully, once we've ranked up, once we're people, as it were, we don't have to worry as much about supposed to, and we can just get things done.
What's that saying? Sometimes it's better to ask for beg forgiveness than ask permission.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that happened. We decided to take that attitude when we flew up to the meteor. We would have taken someone with us if we thought that there was anyone we would have convinced to go along without just keeping us behind and telling. But we didn't figure any of them would go for it, so we decided better to beg forgiveness than ask permission, and did it anyways. And I mean...
sometimes inactivity is worse. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I can't sit still half the time.
Well, it's also sometimes the consequences are worth the thing that you need to do or feel like you need to do. And in this case...
although the ends justify the means is a bit of a dangerous path to walk down.
Well, it's more that there will be consequences for us breaking the rules, and there have been. I mean, I don't know how much you saw at the moot, but I mean, there were definitely consequences, and that was hugely embarrassing. But
I saw.
We still got something done that needed to be done. And when the time came that we had to go up there and we had to do something, because of what Lucas and I did, we were able to show all the others how to get there.
I understand you took your punishment and you had to do what you had to do, and I understand that this is the way it goes. It doesn't mean it sits easily with me, and as much as everyone says what Sinner did was maybe not the right thing to do, I feel if
I appreciate that you spoke up for me. Even if it wasn't necessarily the quote, air quote, wisest thing to do, she still stood up for me. And I won't forget that. But, I mean, think about it. Think about what Olaf did. We've all been, well, I mean, you actually have been pretty awesome, but the rest of us have been really bad about breaking the rules. So he picked me and said it's because I'm the eldest, but I'm also the only one who doesn't care about staying on Sept. And he didn't say veil-protected areas. He said warded. The whole Sept is warded. So technically, nothing's changed, except that now I can't leave even with an adult. But there's still all of you now, so if something needs to be done, Lucas has you guys to go with him.
Somehow I don't feel I can replace you at Lucas's side, but I will.
You can't do the same things I can do, but you have your own set of skills, and Lucas is smart enough to play to your skill set.
He's certainly very good at making the most out of the people he has with him.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is anything that you do need, and as you say, we're back where we were, we still can't leave as such, but...
Well, you can. With someone with you, you can still leave. So what we did with Aaron was totally legit.
Of course.
Well, what you did with Aaron. Pretty sure I wasn't supposed to leave at all.
But if there is anything that I can get for you or you need, I will make efforts to do so.
She just kind of shrugs. I'm used to living with what's around me. And I'm not used to all the fancy stuff you get in the city, so... At worst, I'll be like, oh, go to a bookshop. But, I mean, there's even the library in Belvedere Castle, so... I mean, I have what I need, and there are more spirits here that I can interact with than out there, so it all works out for me.
Sometimes there might be things that... Well, the offer's there anyway.
Mm-hmm. I know I have you all to turn to if I need it. So, I mean, it was the most clever punishment I've ever seen, if you think about it. Once I got over being embarrassed and annoyed.
I understand the point you're trying to make. This doesn't stop, I think, the structure and the whole system chafing. And whilst
Still not understanding.
it's small little bits and small little baby steps, I suppose, and through some of the long and explanations, some of it is beginning to soak into my brain, and some of it does make sense. You know, it doesn't mean it makes it easy or makes it more acceptable, I guess. Well, I suppose acceptable because I'm accepting it. Doesn't mean I have to like it or want it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, but also look at it this way. Making our mistakes while we're cubs, that's part of learning. Once we've ranked up, if we do something that's really wrong and really outside the rules, I get the feeling it's going to be a lot harsher. So if you're going to make a mistake, do it now.
Yeah, with power comes responsibility and all that shtick.
Pretty much. Then again, the rules aren't nearly as stifling once you're ranked up. We still have to submit to those higher in station. We don't have to like them, we don't have to respect them, but we have to do what they tell us.
That doesn't necessarily change when you're higher rank. There's always a bigger fish.
Yep. But then again, I figure the higher you get, the more that they're concerned with their own things, their own responsibilities, than babysitting you or telling you what to do. At that point, you've earned the trust that they believe that you know what you're doing. So,
I guess that might also depend on who you are.
Yeah.
well,
Heavy lies the crown.
regardless of what mistakes we may make, between me and Lucas and Cinna taking different tactics, I'm pretty sure we can get out of most things.
I'll let you guys do the talking.
That's the plan.
I don't think my words are quite as pretty as you three.
I'm not really that good with words, you know.
You seem to do alright the other night.
Shut
Bet
it
you
out.
had the big brass balls to actually say anything. I wasn't even planning to talk at all during the mood.
Just because you say it might not have been the wisest things to say, but they still listened to you. You made them listen. They might not have to have liked what you said, but they still listened.
Hey, they learned to listen to me when I was still a kid.
Oh, there you have it.
Yeah, that was with the Greenlee thing.
Yep. Nope, we have our strengths. We'll use them. We'll abuse them like you do.
Mm-hmm.
As you say, Maeve. As you say.
So hey, who wants to plan what we're going to do with this new cabin when we have it?
Well, we're gonna live there.
Well, it'll be ours. And I guess if any other female cubs change, they'll be with us too. But we'll get our own rooms. We'll get to kind of like, I mean, Lucas decorated his place how he wanted to. Now we get to do what we want.
Sure. I mean,
I don't know. I'm not really good with that. I know this sounds silly, but for me it doesn't feel like it's going to be a permanent home, so why bother decorating? I'm cool with whatever you guys decide, really.
yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be uncomfortable, but I mean, how far are we wanting to go with this? I mean, we want it to not be fair, but what do we really need? What can we actually get? I mean, I don't have that much stuff.
I have the money to buy the stuff. That's not necessarily an issue.
But do we need the stuff? I mean, what's the point in getting stuff for just stuff's sake?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't want to put a downer on it, Maeve, but like,
Sorry, I had to zone out for a second. Shenanigans with my flooded basement.
oh, you have all the water as well.
Oh yeah.
And I'm back from an overheated computer.
So sorry, Cliff Notes, what just happened?
Cinna and Talia were not convinced at the idea of decorations.
Sigh.
They don't want to hurt your feelings, but they're sort of like, what's the point in having stuff for stuff's sake? Cinna doesn't feel she's going to be there forever, and Talia just
No, I
doesn't
don't
have
mean
stuff.
I don't mean getting stuff for stuff's sake. I just mean like we'll need furniture.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's still something. I've never actually had a space of my own.
Well, you know what would be fun? Because we can, of course, totally abuse this situation to let people run for us that we need to have running for us.
Yep.
So who do we hate the most?
Are you
Because we
suggesting
can't
that
go upset if beds need to be bought and everything.
Are you suggesting that we send someone who might find it somewhat uncomfortable to go and find the pinkest and fluffiest things?
Exactly. Like, I would totally need a good nightgown, you know? I need it. I can't buy it here. And don't tell them anything about online ordering, please.
We definitely need some unicorn fluffy throws. And
Bunny
no,
slippers for the lot of us.
and no, Lucas is not allowed to go choose them. Lucas is not allowed to go anywhere near this.
No, but he can't go upset either, so we need someone else.
Well, I guess figure out who you're most annoyed at.
I don't really know enough people, so
Well, if no one's sticking out, that's probably a good thing.
You know, to be honest, I would like to see Olaf picking out bunny slippers and ladies' nightgowns and stuff like that.
is he really the one we want to piss off?
I don't think he will be pissed off, to be honest. I can totally see him being very carefully picking that. It's just that I want someone else to follow him and take pictures of it so that we can enjoy it later on.
Gesture to Saskia, to Cinna, and say, well, Ragabash has got a Ragabash.
Ragabash has got a Ragabash. This is
Sure.
true. What else do I have? Mikhail.
I think he wouldn't do it.
I'm sure.
I think he'd
Cinna
just flat out say no.
He is very persuasive.
I don't think he would do it if I ask him.
I think he'd go and take
Maeve,
pictures.
you do the sweet little puppy please help me eyes so well, and you definitely can't leave at all.
I might be able to get him to go, especially if I gave him the whole nudge to take the pictures for us. I think he'd get a kick out of that, maybe.
But someone needs to take pictures of him as well. We just have Barrett following them. Oh boy. I don't know.
All right. Well, we have a plan, and out of play, I need to go do a thing. So shall we call it here?
I
That's
think
a very
so.
smart idea.
All right, guys. Well, then, thank you, watchers, for watching. Thank you, players, for playing. And we'll see you next time on another episode of Rage Across New York, Mean Girls.